build some credit up again. Don't wait. So as soon as possible. Now, what does as soon as possible mean? I say 6 to 9 months. One, if you did file bankruptcy because your spending was out of control and you just couldn't handle things, you didn't have any tragedies like losing a job or any medical issues, and your spending was out of control. First, get your spending under control. That's the first thing you do want to do is get your spending under control, because what will happen is you'll end up in the same boat yet again. So you don't want to do that. But 6 to 9 months later, you can apply for a credit card. Of course, your credit score is going to be really low. So whatever card you get is going to be at the maximum interest rate that anybody can charge you. So you can apply for a credit card. You may not get a regular credit card from a regular company. You may have to get a secure card. Now, a secure card is you're going to pay them some money up front, and that's going to be your balance. So if you got $800 laying around and you want to give this to someone, you're going to give it to this company. They're going to give you a secure card. That is going to be what your balance is. And then you'll pay it back on a monthly basis, which will help you build your credit. After doing that, then of course, there are always lenders out there. If you needed a car, you can go get a car. You're going to pay a ridiculous interest rate, but you could go get you a car. You can also go to a credit union. A credit union may help you out with a credit builder loan. It works a lot like a secured credit card, but it's an actual loan. You may get some other benefits from there. Once you go and you establish it and you pay your bill on time for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, then they may give you a credit card as well. That's not necessarily secured. They may start a bank account for you, something like that, a savings account, and all those things will be good and positive for you. So after a bankruptcy, those are some of the things that you can do to help yourself reestablish your credit. All right, now I can't believe, oh man, this show has gone so fast already. We're at the halfway point, so that means it's time for the question of the day. The question of the day is sponsored by Cute as a Cupcake. The Cupcakery and Bake Shop is located in Maryville, Indiana, 2008 West 81st Street, where the cupcakes are more than just cute. They're delicious. You guys get by Cute as a Cupcake over in Maryville, Indiana. So the question today comes from James out of Memphis. So James says he heard that the credit bureau will no longer count your collections against your credit score once they're paid. Is this true? Well, James, first of all, thank you very much for contacting me. James sent me an email, and we talked back and forth a little bit on email. And so thank you very much, James, for this question. So, James, you are right for the most part. So let me explain what I mean by that. So James asks basically that he's heard that collections, any kind of collections, and if you've been listening to the 800 Credit Score Man show, you know that I told you that medical collections, for sure, once you pay them, then they may not come off of your credit report, but they'll no longer be calculated in your score. Now, James is asking, is that the same for other collections as well? And here's the guy's honest truth about that. Yes, you are correct. You did hear right that once you pay your collections, they're no longer going to be counted against you for your credit score. Now, don't turn off the show just yet, because there's a caveat to this. So this is in FICO. So FICO is what I call the Holy Grail. They're the big dog. 95% of lenders utilize FICO when they are calculating scores, and they're trying to see if you're a risk or not and your credit worthiness. So FICO has different versions. If you have an iPhone, they went from, they update their software all the time. So FICO has a version, FICO 9. It's the newest, it's the latest version. In that version, they are no longer going to calculate your collections against you. Now, they will still stay on your credit report, but they will not calculate that collection against you once that collection is paid. Here's where the problem lies. Not everyone that uses FICO is using FICO 9. So they're not using the most updated version, because it's not like an iPhone where you get the update and you push the button and it's fine. No, they sell the different versions to people. So some people, when I say people, I mean entities, some lenders, Some lenders are still working off FICO 3, FICO 5, FICO 7. They're working off older models. Those older models still have the old algorithms in them, and they're still calculating those collections against you. So you never know who's actually updated, who's actually using FICO 9. Some lenders may actually know, other lenders may not. If you go to a car dealership and you go to the car dealership and they run your credit, 30 times to try to get you the best deal possible, they have no idea which bank is using which form to calculate your credit score. So that could be an issue for you. Now, if you find a bank, you can go to your own bank. Matter of fact, I suggest you do that. You go to your own bank and you ask your bank, what system are you guys using? What FICO are you running? Or if they're using something else, it's possible they could be using Vantage, but I doubt it. 95% of lenders are using FICO. So I would suggest you go ahead and you ask them. Next time you're at the bank or you're at the drive-through and you're sitting there and the lady's talking to you on the speakerphone or whatever, then ask her what version are they using. I doubt that the person that you talk to will even know it, and maybe even the branch manager doesn't know, but possibly maybe they do, and see if they're on 9. And that would be a good thing for you, especially if you have collections and you've paid those collections off. So I talk a lot about reducing the amounts that you owe when it comes to your collections, because I just don't believe that you necessarily really owe that person or that entity $500. You probably signed some paperwork that said they can charge you interest and all kinds of fees and whatnot if you don't make the payment, but you probably actually only owe them $300. So I always talk about you need to try to reduce that when you deal with your collections. Same thing applies. Continue to do so. Try to reduce that. And then if they decide, I always talk about pay for delete as well, if you want to call it that. Make sure that they delete it off of your credit report. It doesn't do you any good just to go ahead and pay it. So if they're not going to delete it, because some places will do this, they'll give you an amount off. If you have $1,000 and you say, okay, I can pay you $500, they'll say, okay, we can do the $500, but we can't delete it. Now, we can do deletion for you if you pay $800. Some of them work like that as well. So now you know that once you pay that collection, that is not going to count against you, even though it'll still show on your credit report. It's not going to count against you. It's better for you financially to go ahead and take the biggest reduction that you can get. So I hope you follow all of that in regard to the FICO 9. That's the newest model for them, and that's no, they will no longer count paid collections against you, no matter who it's from. They'll no longer count those things. If you want to know more information about what can be counted against you and things of that nature, then go back and listen to some previous shows as well. I talked about medical debt and how that works as well. And then one of the most popular shows is collections and how to handle them. Go back and listen to that show, especially before you call anybody. Before you call anybody to try to make a deal with them, I suggest that you listen to that show. Take 30 minutes and save yourself some long green. All right. Thanks a lot, James. I appreciate it so much for you contacting me on email. Everybody else, you can contact me on email as well. 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. That's 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. Send me your questions and you may become a part of the show like James. James, you are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. Thank you so very much. And again, brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, the Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute. They're delicious. Located in Maryville, Indiana, 2008 West 81st. That's Maryville, Indiana. Cute as a Cupcake. Get by there and tell them that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, so before I jump into the next question, we only got 5 minutes left, so I got to throw these questions in there for real. So let's jump into a couple of more shout outs. I got to shout out Miles King. Miles King, my little cousin, who isn't so little at all. He is celebrating a birthday coming up, so happy birthday to you. I want to give a birthday shout out to Ruben Flores as well. I think he's like Mr. IU. I think if we took a vote for all the people that went to Indiana University, that Ruben probably would win Mr. IU or King IU or something like that. So happy birthday to you, sir. I gotta give a birthday shout out to Brian Simpson as well. So happy birthday to you, my man. All right, so that's the jump to this next question. Will my credit drop if I check it too often? Will my credit drop if I check it too often? No, your credit will not drop if you check it too often. Now, your credit will drop if you let others, entities, that's what I mean when I say others, like other lenders, car people. If you're trying to get a mortgage, you're trying to apply for a bunch of credit cards, whether they're store cards or if they're regular Visa, MasterCard, American Express, things of that nature, then yes, your credit score will drop. And it'll drop because you're going to get hard inquiries by doing that. But you can check your credit score as often as you like with no penalty, if you will, no penalty at all. Your credit score will not drop. That is considered a soft inquiry. So when you're checking it, like I said, with like Credit Karma and whatnot, you can check it as often as they'll let you check your credit report, and it will not hurt your score, not one iota. So check away, make sure everything is on the up and up when you are taking a look at your credit score and protect yourself that way. All right, so another question is, why does your score go down when you get a new credit card? Now, I'm going to expand this a little bit, not just the credit card. If you get any kind of new account, so if you get a credit card, you get a car, you get a new student loan, you refinance your mortgage or you buy a new home or whatever it is, why does your score go down when you get a new account? Here's why your score goes down. One reason that your score goes down, like automatically, you're going to get an inquiry. We just kind of talked about that a little bit. It's a hard inquiry. You're going to get dinged at 2, 4, 6 points typically. Again, I mentioned a couple shows ago that some people at Experian said that your score could go down 5 to 10 points for each inquiry. So it's going to go down because of that initially for sure. And then when you get a new account, you shorten your length of history. So it says length of history, and it's a misnomer. It's really about the average that you had credit. So if you have an account 10 years old and you got an account 5 years old and now you have a new account, it's going to shorten your length of history. Your length of history is 15% of your credit score. So then it's going to drag your score down a little bit when you get one. And that doesn't mean don't go out and apply for credit. Don't go get that new car if you need a new car, or the new to you car. That's a used car. So if you get some of those things, don't deny yourself some things if you absolutely need them, but only apply for credit if you absolutely need it, because it will shorten the length of the time. And then there's a risk assessment change. So when you go get new credit, and let's just say it is a credit card, you go get new credit, and so now the credit bureaus don't know why you're getting this credit. Do you absolutely need this credit? If you're having a financial crisis and now you've got this new credit card and it's got $1,000 limit, are you going to charge it to $800? Are you going to charge it to $900? Or are you going to use it responsibly? They just don't know. Now they're looking at your history, and your history is fine. That's the reason you got the card in the first place, because your history is okay to be able to get the card, but they don't know what is going on in your life. So there's a new risk assessment that they need to make about you when you apply for new credit. So eventually they'll turn it around. It might take a month, it might take 2 months, and then your credit score should bounce back, especially if you get a credit card and you charge and then you make the payment and things like that, and you're still a good steward over your credit. Then it'll bounce back and you'll be perfectly fine. But that's why your score goes down when you initially get a new account on your credit report. But it will bounce back as long as you do what you're supposed to do. It'll bounce back. All right, so let me jump to this other question, because we are at the end of the show. This is ridiculous. So why does your score go down if you pay off an installment loan? Now, this is a very good question, because I've had people pay off loans. I'm going to pay off my student loans very, very soon. Hopefully by the end of the year, finally, I'll pay off my student loans. and my credit score most likely will dip when I pay it off. And here's what happens when you pay off an installment loan. So if you pay off an installment loan, your mix, I'm going to talk to you about your mix. Now, your mix are the different kinds of loans that you have. You have installment loans, you have revolving loans. Installment loans are like cars, student loans, anything that you have a payment on and a term to. That's an installment loan. And then you might have a revolving loan or a revolving credit. So that's like your credit cards. If you have a home equity loan,